Action. Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Morning, everyone.
No suit and tie today?
No, actually, funny story. We had a little bit of it was a false alarm, but my wife and I in December had our first child. And last night, probably around 2 a.m, we hear some beeping and I'm like, oh, it's just got to be a smoke alarm. Well, our CO detector starts going off. So I'm like, I don't know if that's a false alarm or if it was a low battery. So at 2 a.m, we packed everybody up and came to my parents' house just in case. So now I got to go get a new smoke alarm or a CO detector. So say I'm running on fumes right now is an understatement.
Yeah.
Where do you live? Where do you live?
Are we live now?
We are live.
In Ogden, in Monroe County.
Yes.
Fire department will check it for free. Sorry.
All right.
Be the town engineer in Ogden.
Welcome, everyone. I'd like to open the March 7th, 2025 City of Geneva IDA meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to review the mission statement. You got it there, David? In a second. Yeah. At least looking, we thought that this was a good thing just to remind us why we're here every month and we're eye on the ball.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yes. The Geneva IDA was created to promote, develop, encourage, and assist in acquiring, constructing, maintaining, equipping, and furnishing certain types of projects and facilities to advance the job opportunities, health, general prosperity, economic welfare, and recreation opportunities for the citizens of the city of Geneva.
Okay, thank you. We have the agenda. Oh, the agenda that's before us. Any additions or deletions? Anything new business anyone wants to bring up? Okay, that stands. Okay, we're on to the financial report. Adam Lowers, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for making some of the.
Yeah, absolutely. Help me too.
Nice addition this month. Yeah.
Yep, so some of the corrections or additions, changes, whatever that were made. We got the GEDC on here as a fixed asset. What else did we do? We've got the mortgage on here as a note payable. The CD is now sorted out. And so feeling comfortable with where the financials are. That being said, if you remember, the fiscal year is October through September. So far, October 24 through February of 25. Some income of just over $2,000 from investments. Expenses just over 30,000. I will say that is I just was talking with Irene. I'm gonna this afternoon on my calendar is to go through the payments made to the bid. The LDC and IDA have split some of those, so we want to get those sorted out so we know who owes who. So that number likely will change. The 28,000 in negative net income, but I will send something out to the board prior to the next meeting, so we're all aware of that.
Okay. Any questions of Adam? I do have a question about the amount stated for the GEDC.
Okay.
A little over $2.5 million. I wish it was worth that much. Is there I realize it's not taxed, so there's no reason to try to reduce it. Tax reasons. Any other reason to be truthful about it?
So I took that number from the audit that was there last year. It will likely change because there was a reval. So that's just the number from, and I can look at it and find out. It's likely that it already has gone down. I just have to take a look at it from the assessor's office to see what they've changed it to, if they did. Because this would have been from the audit from the prior year, so it wouldn't actually from 23 to 24.
But there's no harm in overstating it.
There
I mean,
there
other than
isn't,
giving us a false sense of security.
right, yeah. But it would be nice to have it a little bit closer to, I mean.
Well,
Well,
particularly for, if I believe still on the table is opportunity to sell it,
Yeah,
we're not gonna sell it for anywhere near that. And,
Not
and
legally.
so what happens, I mean, there's no reason to write it down, we're tax exempt and stuff, so I mean, there's no tax, there's.
no, there's
benefit.
no impact, I mean, and with an IDA, you know, we're not. It's not good or bad if we have assets, you know, as far as like, if you're a business and you're borrowing, then you have collateral. I mean, it's not making an impact, but certainly for all of us who know the facility and know the IDA, we probably feel more comfortable having it more of a realistic number. And so, like I said, that's from a prior year audit. I just took it off there.
Well,
And when I get the info from the assessors.
I think there is,
Change that.
if in fact that's based on the assessment, there might be a value of making sure the assessment was corrected. So if someone were to buy it, they're not looking at this huge
Sure.
tax thing, you
Yeah.
know? And that our pilot would be based on something original.
Yeah.
Or authentic, I mean.
No, that's a good point, yeah.
And that maybe we should right size it now if in fact that's gonna happen.
Yep.
Anyway. It always made the books look good. Any other?
When you said 30,000 is a negative number, so we're operating at a loss.
Well, we have, just from a net income standpoint, there's money in the bank. The bank account's got 65,000 in it. And then a savings account with another 17. So there's funds there. It's just expenses and revenues were at a loss this year so far.
So I was gonna ask for this offline, but since it just came up, maybe a month and then to add GEDC income and expenses into it, because that's not reflected there,
Okay,
right?
yep,
And so that's the piece that's missing, because you're not seeing the
Yeah.
income, and, you know,
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
basically as IDA, our only expenses have been to pay these guys. You know, the city, and I don't think you've actually paid anything to the city.
just the bid,
Yeah,
that was it, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can break that out.
I hate to see that 30,000 negative every year, then not much else coming in, then we are operating at.
Sure, right,
It's actually a lot more than 30 a year. It's closer to 50 a year to keep the doors open. And if we don't have a pilot, then of course it's gonna stop here.
Right.
So, but we do have some opportunities coming up for.
Yes, we do.
So
Yep,
so a pilot every couple of years has typically been
It's enough.
how it's
fund
kept
us,
the
yeah.
IDA role.
That's usually worth a few $100,000 and it just kind of keeps us in place until the next one.
Right.
Okay. We want to vote on that. I'd like a motion to approve Adam's report.
so moved.
I'll
Okay,
second.
Okay. Any other questions, additions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Hi,
Opposed? Okay, passed. Thank you. Is Miles there? Yeah, he is. That's him. I think, right?
Good morning, Miles. Is that you on the phone?
Well, we're trying to, there he is. Okay,
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
yes. Morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for the reports. Anything specific to point out to us?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been kind of slow coming out of the winter. I'm just glad we're past all this mess that we've been dealing with the snow and the ice and the rain. That's about the most exciting stuff that's been going on at the can at the moment. Still have two parties that we're working out small expansions with, and hopefully by the next meeting we'll have that discussed.
Unity House on the second floor.
Yeah.
Are they the only tenant up there now?
No, there's one other tenant up there.
Okay. Are they thinking about, moving within the building, moving out of the building?
Yeah, we had a discussion with their program director that I spoke with. You know, they have a certain budget that they have to work with, and we showed them other space that would have been, you know, an uptick in size and a little bit in price. So she didn't take it off the table, but they still have to have a meeting about an expansion like that and fitting it into their budget. So we just kind of left it at that, and, you know, we're not going anywhere, and they'll
So
double
it was,
back
it
with
would
us.
have been, it would be in the building, you think, or no?
Yeah, we had looked down at the first floor about taking those two larger
Front rooms?
suites.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Well, that's good.
Yep.
Any, we have those reports in front of us. Any questions of Miles? We do meet with Miles, on a monthly basis, or the GEDC committee, which, we go through, you know, a little bit more detail, but not too much more. Primarily, we're discussing what we're gonna do with the can now that we have this engineering report, and now that we have, you know, what's our next steps? So, that's, you know, that's something that we're actively, at least this year, trying to focus on. It's, RJ, myself, and Lowell. Actually, that's on the agenda. Yeah. The GEDC committee. So I just gave the report.
I can expand on it.
But just to tie it in, Miles has been good, and their bookkeeper, accountant, CFO, whatever is, what's his name? Yeah. John, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Is done a good job of kind of getting the books in order and reconciling things for us. So we appreciate that.
Yeah. One of the things they spent effort on this month was sorting through the security deposits that they have, and you can see
Yeah.
on records some moving funds around to make sure that the security deposits are where we know what is being held and where it is.
Great. That is also good. Anything on food justice? Are there still stuff in the space?
You know, Steve and I spoke earlier this week on a final notice to them, so either we'll clear it or they'll clear it
Okay.
within 30 days.
All right. Any questions of Miles while we have him on the phone? All right, Miles, thanks for joining us. Appreciate
You bet.
your efforts.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the bid contract. Welcome, Catherine. That was included in our packet. Very nicely written, very concise. Steve, did you have a chance to look over the contract that she sent that changed the wording so it was more compliant with our mission or what we can
Yep.
do?
Yep.
Okay. You're the presenter.
Yeah. So our goal with this was to make the administration as simple as possible while also achieving our goals for working with the IDA, being clear about things that we can measure, that we can say this was done or it wasn't done, without a lot of confusion, and being very specific about there's one scope of work for the IDA, there's a different scope of work for the LDC, which will help us keep things super
Right.
clear. And also making it a fewer number of payments reduces our administrative burden for them.
Easier for disbursement. Sure. Any questions? All pretty clear? It was very well written. Thanks.
Thank you for your help, David.
Okay. I'd like a motion to approve the GBID contract for this year, 2025. Okay, second, thank you, Lowell. Any questions other than any additions, okay? All in favor, say aye.
I,
I abstain.
Opposed? All right, passed. Thank you very much. Good luck. Good luck. Okay, the GDC committee report, which we just kind of talked about what we're doing. We are attending, we are meeting with Miles's group once a month, about the middle of the month. And like, we do have some things that we're trying to organize, but we don't have anything to report per se.
I'm just thinking about that piece of the building that really is not habitable. And who's responsible for taking it down? We really have to demolish it, remove whatever's inside. A lot of storage from the city. And my thought is to try and balance things so that we have some income to manage the structure, you know, and our largest tenant is the city, and there's a lease, and we're going to talk to Amy about possibly modifying that lease and getting it closer to not closer to what people really pay for that type of square footage, but just to balance us so that we are in the plus column every year. That's my goal anyway. And that would allow us to have some funding to repair as we need to repair, to maintain. So that's where I am.
That's exactly what we're trying to figure out. Is how to get that more in balance, kind of lopsided for a while. Okay, any questions?
I I have a question.
All right,
Yes, I have a question. Was there any further discussion about the city taking down that section of building that needs to come down? Or that was something we talked about previously?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of the items.
Yeah,
That's one of the items that we're trying to negotiate.
Oh, yes, so I want,
And there's really nothing to talk because we haven't started it yet.
Oh, you haven't
But
started anything.
we've talked about how we have an approach. We'll let you know.
perfect. I'm sorry. I thought that
that's
there
fine.
was some preliminary meeting between
No,
this time and this time. Yeah.
What will happen to all those files, Nicole, that are in there? Some of those you probably want to retain.
Well, we want to try to, but it depends on how damaged, I mean, I don't know if we really can, and I'm working with state archives, don't have good answers yet. A lot of them, so, and I can only speak for like the city files, I can't speak for court, and like half of that room is court stuff, and
Right.
that's them, not us, and they're aware, they've been in there. I'm not sure where they're at. A lot of our stuff is very damaged, and some of it is past its retention schedule, and if it's past its retention schedule,
get rid of
I'm
it.
not saving it because it's so damaged anyway.
Yeah.
Even the files that don't appear to be super damaged, there's gonna be a lot of mold spores and whatnot. Bring those into long-term storage,
Yeah,
Break out the hazmat suits.
among other
yeah.
files that aren't in that condition, and just kind of
yeah,
spread the problem around.
That's also part of the discussion.
got it. Thank you.
So we're trying to keep it in front of us, I guess.
Yeah.
DPW said that they will show up with a bucket truck and we can throw boxes into it, and that's how we can get everything out. So we have a plan, kind of.
It's a lot of stuff.
Okay, we'll have some activity on the awards
Yeah,
committee,
yeah, it's
which is him.
It's all right.
He's the committee.
It's okay. Yeah, there is a committee, but I'm trying to get together a professional architect and a professional builder, and they're very busy. So we exchange information and anyway, thanks to some prodding, Neil got back to me with a list of homes and businesses that we should look at. So I drove around and took pictures of one. The next step is to shortlist. There's a couple of really neat improvements done in the city by individuals to their homes and to their businesses. It's just terrific. When you pay attention to what's going on. We walk a lot, and I've seen some things that I thought were lost, but then the next couple of weeks I walked by them again and then they're fixed.
Wow.
And it's really neat. It's cool. One of my favorite buildings, my stupid little printer, but it's this guy,
Yeah,
and maybe you know this house.
yeah,
And I got the before picture from Mark, and it was a mess, but I went in this building when I first moved here to get my watch repaired. And I looked up and there's all these rafters exposed, and I said, are you the owner? And he said, no, I'm moving out, but he's gonna modify everything. He's gonna put apartments up here, and he did it. This is really a winner, in my opinion. So the next couple of steps, when we shortlist to one in each category, there's 4 categories. And I would contact each property owner, recognize them, see if they're okay with receiving some sort of an award. I've talked to Hep Materials and Lowe's, and they've offered product, not money, but product as awards. So it's kind of neat. And we, I think then I would write up a description from Neil of exactly the work that was done, and not just what I've seen or what Mark has seen, our architect. And then write that up. I found that you can get plaques pretty inexpensively online, and it's pretty neat. You can
and
get
downtown, I would say too. They do plaques downtown at that trophy
okay,
on Exchange, and they're not expensive.
okay,
Yeah.
I'll go there.
Yeah,
I'll go there.
Yeah.
Yep. And so that and perhaps a small monetary award, which I was going to fund, and then figure out a way to publicize it. So, and that's where I would look to you for help.
oh. Yeah, I just have a question. It's too late in the running now, but is there a way to involve the public a little bit more, like in nominations or something? I feel like you'd get publicity just out of that, for one thing, but people would probably feel more, I don't know, coming from the city code guy. I mean, I think people having neighbors put their neighbor's house up, and it would just spread the word a little bit more. I mean, I think it'd be nice somehow to include the public, either in nominations or the final panel or whatever.
Maybe. I'm thinking
It
maybe.
gets a little messy, but
I think it
you can
might.
figure it out.
Yeah, thanks. But it's not a bad idea. Maybe the first time do it
Yeah,
this
that's
way.
what-
Yeah,
And
just
then,
get it started.
and then
Then people will have
year.
heard
Yep,
about it.
yep.
And then there's time to strategize how to
Yeah,
do
That's
that.
exactly what I was gonna say, let's get it kicked off
Yeah.
for this, and then once people see what it is, maybe that enthusiasm.
Yeah,
yeah, and maybe take my photos and put them in a section in the paper, and
Mhm.
and those that are was shortlisted to this, and then them, and then the awards, and then we'd have the mayor there and you guys, and I'd stay home.
Is the LDC still involved with any of this, or is this all IDA?
The LDC expressed interest in helping to publicize it or doing anything they could. But it has been all-
Is a joint, I mean,
pretty much.
Will's done the work, but
Mhm.
is there an advantage to as a joint thing or not, or, I mean,
Yeah,
what's your opinion?
they, I think, are doing good work at building more of a constituency in their neighborhood group and like getting more people involved. So having them help get the word out could be helpful.
Maybe you could share Lil's work and just, it'd be nice to spread it out. I mean, it'd be, not that we don't have to take all the credit, I don't think, but I think it'd be good if there was more.
I don't care.
More input.
Yeah.
I know it was on their mission or their strategic plan notes that they were gonna do that and fold some of this in.
I have to get together with Neil and whoever else was close to the inspections and get a good description. I at least put a caption underneath.
Yeah.
Each photo, and get a sense of all the work that they did, because I'm not going inside the buildings, at least not now. So there's also, I'm kind of in a quandary about what to do. In my neighborhood, there's 2 big apartment structures that have been completely renovated. I mean, people have spent $500,000 on each building probably. And I just did not want to highlight them so much. I wanted to spread this around to all different categories, but maybe there's another category, some distinguished structure restoration. And so I'm thinking those terms too. So not that, you know, they're making money, they're doing well with their rents, you know, because their apartments are beautiful.
Yeah.
So, but
So it's more recognition.
just to recognize maybe with a plaque, that kind of.
Yeah, encourage more people to do
Yeah.
it.
And Steve, we can't actually come out of the IDA cash. We can't pay for any of this, huh? If we want to fund a award.
I wasn't,
I know,
I wasn't gonna ask for that at all, so it's,
but it'd be good to know if we could.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're correct.
It's not part of our approved usage of our funds. Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Okay,
Steve, can I clarify there? In things that the IDA can sponsor, they can sponsor like cash or an award for somebody, but they could sponsor an event that was tied to increasing property values or I know like the Ontario County IDA helped with the event around the trains and industry there. Is that something that?
Yeah, something that, you know, along those lines, you could tie it to essentially, you know, IDAs are allowed to spend IDA monies on, you know, call it for marketing purposes that are furthering, you know, economic development in accordance with their mission. So, you know, something like that. Yeah. But basically, you know, an outright, which again, with the scrutiny that the IDAs are undergoing right now with the ABO and so forth, you know, chances are if you were to just hand out, you know, $100, $200 to somebody and say, hey, you know, here's an award because, you know, you won this one, you know, that they'd see that as an outright gift, chances.
Okay.
But yeah, David, you're correct.
okay, well, good work.
No, it's not
So
a
the
big
next
deal.
step is we're gonna narrow it down, your
Yeah.
team's gonna narrow
Yeah.
it down, okay,
Yes.
and then come up.
And we may find one or two more too, you know, that we just, the three of us have observed.
So next week, next month, could we have a
Tomorrow.
little presentation?
Yeah,
You put something together so we could see
certainly.
the fruits of your labor?
Sure.
Okay.
And I don't think there's any harm in recognizing more buildings, you know, having more categories. You could have some categories that get the lows, whatever that you put together, and some that are also mentioned, you know,
Yeah.
come up with a name for it, more
Yep.
categories. The more light we shine on good things, the better.
Mhm.
Yeah, well,
Yep,
good,
I agree.
good work, thanks. Okay, nominating committee, any activity there? Did we get any names, Nicole, that are worth, okay. Steve, this is a question for you. Legally, I guess, you know, you've kind of helped us true up our search efforts to making sure it's only city residents. And I think in times past, people have understood that, other committees have understood that as possibly people that own businesses in the city may not live in the city, but have property or business. And we're having trouble finding someone, individuals that would be an asset to this group that also live in the city. We've done some outreach to a couple places, and it's just, you know, the pool of people available is small.
Yeah, it's tough because the statute speaks of residency. So, you know, that's the legal answer. The practical answer is I don't know how often. I don't know of the years that I've been here.
What's the rub? What happens if we get caught? I shouldn't say that.
Well,
Put it in an envelope, all of our-
I have to leave the room.
I mean, technically, the risk that you would be assuming is say, for example, you had, two additional members or whoever that joined the IDA board that did not satisfy that residency requirement. Theoretically, they could sit there and say they were never eligible to serve on the board, and thus, any and all votes that they cast are basically ineffective. And then to the extent you had, say you got an important project and you were, close on quorum, and those two help get quorum, it's kind of a vicious cycle that, they could technically look back through and say, these technically were never,
So
should have never been off.
someone's looking to change, okay.
But again, that's the legal answer. Practically, I mean, I don't know how often.
Oh, that makes sense. What you said it makes sense that it would
Yeah.
put some of our decisions in jeopardy. So, how much would you charge us to change the law? That's a joke. That's a joke.
Yeah,
All right. All right.
It's all out in the open now.
it'd be great. I would certainly sponsor that one.
All right. Okay. So again, we're asking if anyone knows someone that would live in the city, just so, it gets off our back, and then we can, that would be able to attend the meetings and participate. I mean, that's part of the issue is there is a responsibility for a member to be available, and we do have meetings during the workday, which sometimes is difficult for other people to participate in. Okay. I'm going to add, since Ryan came in later, we'll have a report from the Ontario County Development Agency. But why don't you do your ongoing projects first, and we'll put, you good with that, Ryan? Okay.
So the DeSales project is continuing to move forward. They have just been working with the city on kind of final stuff around infrastructure, looking at the pipes and the water and stuff going into the building. So it seems like they're getting close to ready to roll. We should know probably within the month about their Restore New York grant, if we got it or not.
They reapplied, right?
Yeah, so we reapplied with just them as the applicant instead of a group of applicants. I think it's a stronger application. The second time it's been through the roll before, and we met with the state afterwards and taken their suggestions, and hopefully that makes it a little bit more their project.
That's great.
We've done everything we can to make that as likely to succeed as possible. So I'm hopeful there, and it is good to see work moving forward. Other things that I think you should know about is that this week the city did move on a bunch of property sales. So they passed a resolution to sell the Foundry site to Home Leasing, which is a really strong developer out of the Rochester area, family-owned company. They're looking to build around 60 apartments there. They'll start kind of community outreach and meetings soon on that. They passed a resolution to sell lots on Crystal Street to Habitat for Humanity. We'll have 8 single-family for-sale homes there that will use the Habitat structure, where families who are getting a discount on the home help build either their home or neighbors' homes, and there'll be opportunities for people to volunteer. Habitat of Greater Rochester wants to have a bigger face here and is looking to kind of have enough of a runway of projects that they can build a committed volunteer force. So that's great. Looking forward to that. Pass a resolution to sell a parcel on Middle Street at the corner of Middle and Hallenbeck to Cook Properties, and they're a for-profit developer. They own a lot of mobile home parks, but they're trying to get into building neighborhoods. They have a project in the town of Geneva and a big project just unveiled in Canandaigua. Here, they're looking at how they can get into urban infill. So they're looking to take that lot, subdivide it into 4 lots, put homes on them, sell them, they'll be single family homes. Most likely under $200,000 for a brand new 2 to 3 bedroom house, which is pretty great to see.
1,400 square feet, 1,500 square feet,
Yeah.
not bad, on slabs.
Mhm.
Look
The
really nice.
porches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice, smaller, one-story houses.
Yep.
Nice ones.
And the difference this approach versus a trailer park is the fact that the homeowner owns the land instead of rents the land. And that's a differentiation from tax purposes.
Makes a big difference. Yeah. It means more taxes. It also means more financial stability for the homeowner. For all intents and purposes, these days, the quality is as good or sometimes better than stick built because it has to be more rigid to go down the road. And these are really nice models that have front porches. They're going to blend in well.
And from what they said they're also interested in more infill around the city. It's not just, it's just not these 4 lots.
Yeah. So this is kind of a model that they're looking to start, and they would like to use it to fill in where we have demolished houses, where we have extra lots in the city. And also it's a test here. They're hoping that we're good and easy to work with, and they want to do more in Rochester and other places.
And they're the same folks that are building the development up on Carter.
On Carter.
Wasn't 100% approved yet, but
Yep.
getting close. And that's a huge project. So they are in the area. It's
Yeah.
not like they're coming a long way.
Yep. And they just proposed this even bigger project that's kind of mix of homes and commercial and apartments in Canandaigua. That's like a whole new mixed use neighborhood.
Good.
And then the last thing that council accomplished in that meeting was appointing a preferred developer for the OEO site. So there's a team of developers, engineers, designers that will work with the city in the next, year, 2 years to develop a project there. We'll come up with what exactly the project is, what the sales structure is, through community meetings and working with staff going forward. So it's a bunch of new units that we see coming, investment in downtown. I think the Foundry property will be about $25 million investment. I expect OEO to be more like $35 million. We have a lot going on right now. Yeah.
I visited the Foundry site because I wanted to see what it was like, and one of the councilmen was concerned about their neighbors. And it's a 4-story structure that's proposed.
That's the proposal.
Zoning
Zone
allows
for
5.
Yeah.
But I drove out to, anyway, I got to the main street corner, and right there is a 3 or 4-story building. So you can kind of get a sense of the impact, and maybe it isn't as large as they anticipate. And then the homes themselves, so they're tall. And if you add a peaked roof, that's a 3-story house.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be looking at one more story across the street. So if it can be explained that way and maybe situated on the site to landscape it, maybe the impact won't be as great as he's feared. And that's what my sense was when I looked at the site. It's a big site.
I agree.
There's and if he in fact doesn't need 2 parking spaces per apartment, and so people won't be parking on the street. We want enough real parking, not necessarily to a code that doesn't apply. So I just want to be logical there.
Yeah.
Now, both the OEO property and home lease are going to be asking us for pilots. The pilot for home lease is somewhat exotic, and to me, I never heard it before. Maybe you have, but there is. They've got a very strong company, as David has attested to. They understand the financing. They have the wherewithal to pull everything off that they say they're going to do. They've got a great track record. So I have to believe that they've done the research on what type of pilot works for their development. So we're gonna have to be pretty sharp when this happens. Now, as David said, it might be a few years before it actually crosses our desk here. But maybe sooner they want the pilot approved before they.
Yeah, I would think that home leasing will be moving faster than OEO. But we'll see. Both of them have expressed some interest in what's called 9% tax credit projects, which is a federal funding source for below median income housing that there's basically an application every year. It's in the summer. So, either they're able to be ready to hit that application this year or the next year. And some of that is strategy of phasing. We know we're not going to get all of our projects approved in one round. So, but the more they can show readiness and having their financing ready, so they may want to come.
So to that end, there's always pushback on pilots. There's a bunch, particularly in the newspaper, but also a number of people that think that we shouldn't be in business doing this. And that maybe we should get ahead of it a little bit as these start to develop and take shape, that we should be in a position to make a statement. I know that you said that the county did you contact was it the county that had some sort of benefit of IDA? And I thought Stephen at one point said, I think we should come up with a statement that we can release to the paper and maybe do it on a regular basis as things start to heat up, that we actually defend ourselves. I think our tactic typically has been, leave it alone, because you just get into this cycle of back and forth that we see happening in Canandaigua quite often lately. I've certainly thought of responding to it and decided against it just because I didn't want to get into this tit for tat and stuff. But I think in this case, particularly since some of the asks are going to be different. I don't think they're unjustified, but they're going to be different. They might, we might have to be a little bit more proactive in explaining our position and why we support it so strongly. So I'll throw this back at you, David. We should try to I think, however we want to do it, if there's some stuff that's already available that we could take advantage of. Certainly there's some things, Steve, that your firm has, the cost benefits and all of that. And we always do all our homework, but it's not as publicized and promoted and encouraged and, put a positive face on the whole thing. We just kind of sit here and take our blows, which I think we should maybe counteract some.
Yeah.
Right, RJ?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
There's some muscle. We'll get some muscle.
Yeah, I think it would be good to plan some multi-series. I know that the county's been talking about some articles that are related to housing. Okay, great.
So concerted effort, I think, would be great.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions of David on the projects? It's exciting that there's some movement around.
David, one quick question I had, and I don't know whether you know this or not. With home leasing, you said they're going to be going after the 9% tax credits. I know it's not always required, but do you know if they gave any indication of whether they'd be looking at a tax exempt bond structure in connection with that or no?
We haven't discussed that yet.
Okay. I just figured I'd ask.
Yeah, would that be a possible use of our allocation?
Yes. Yep. That's why I asked. I mean, typically with the 4%, that's always connected to a tax exempt bond issuance. The 9%, I don't think you necessarily have to have. But I think, oftentimes people do. So I just figured I don't know if you knew that yet.
It's on materials again, that part? No.
It's borrowing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thanks. And do you have a brief report?
Very brief. The department kicked off their strategic planning process 2 weeks ago. We will be reaching out to this group, especially the first stakeholder. Everybody was here the other day. Sorry, you're going to hear this one. We'll be reaching out to the stakeholder group everybody that helps with economic development. So, I have an email that I have not gotten to yet with the survey instrument. Maybe next week I'll read it, and then we'll start sending that out. Probably next month. Want to engage with all of our partners to find out where our holes are at and ways that the county can help fill them. Try to bring some on the side of it. Outside of that. I gotta applaud you on everything as far as housing, especially the last 24 hours, I think. They've all done a hell of a lot of work, as far as explaining the why to your question just a second ago. The county ad hoc committee, the EDC and the IDA would be happy to stand in front of the critical, housing critical. We've been saying it for a couple of years now. This year's annual report will say it again. Last year's annual report said it. I suspect that next year's annual report will probably hint at it. Anything that we need from us to too fast.
And though Ryan isn't on the hook with it at all, we did put in as a city, hoping that the county would choose improving our wastewater treatment plant as the project that could get $1 million from the state. The county can only choose one project. Whatever the county chooses gets funded, but they only get to choose one. So there's competition among all the municipalities to push on the county to get it. We are looking to double the capacity of our solids handling at the wastewater treatment plant. Currently, we're only at about 50% of our liquids capacity, but like 96% of solids capacity. So in order to do all these projects, we have a planned improvement. I think it's even out to bid now, but it's expensive. And, you know, a large, basically anything that isn't grant funded. We have a small grant already. I think 3 million, it's a $10 million project. We're looking for all the help we can get on it. So talk to your supervisors.
That group did meet already, so don't press your supervisors.
Okay.
They brought me in at the end, the scoring was done. Here Wednesday.
Okay.
I think I had to go to that meeting when I left here,
Oh, okay.
and that is all I've been told I can say. So I would expect news out on winner and losers. If it's not today, it'll be.
Wow.
All right.
Can we keep him here for a while?
Lock the door.
Okay, anything else? Thank you, Ryan. John?
May I speak?
Please.
To the concern about records, et cetera, at the GEDC building, I would like to offer any help I can with sorting and removing, because I could offer those possibly to the Historic Districts Commission and or the Historic Geneva. Could be very important, we don't know. I have a thought regarding neighborhood pride and buildings, et cetera. I've introduced this to the Neighbors Together group, which is an initiative that simply says, one of the things that Geneva is known for is its architecture, and one of the ways to enhance that is something as simple as paint colors. It's never been addressed. It's not in zoning. It's not something that the Historic District Commission entertains, but it's something that could be introduced to the community at large, because it changes everything about what the visitor and or the Genevan experiences on a daily basis. I would extend it. Hopefully, I'm going to talk to David separately one of these days about changing some of the zoning downtown area where we might be able to actually make that part of the zoning in downtown. But even without that, I say to you that it's possible to make Geneva just better looking this year, and it's no cost. No cost at all. And the color red is not more expensive than the color blue or the color white. So a white house with black shutters and black roof, they're gonna put on a new roof and paint, they could change the whole look of it at the same level of expense. So I'm gonna introduce that as I go along to other groups, including Historic Geneva, including the Historic Districts Commission. That's something I'd like to see spread. And another thing about your thought about giving awards to people, that was something that they used to do. The mayor would give an award to a house. And it was a very, I think about 20 some years ago, it was a big deal. People really enjoyed that. And that's another program that would be easy to resurrect.
Guess that's quite similar, but
Another little feather.
yeah. I don't know who would pick those colors, maybe my wife.
Well,
She doesn't
I
make sense.
have people
I don't-
that I have not approached yet.
Yeah, I'm clueless on the color.
Jen, aren't there some restrictions with the, like South Main Street Historic,
Yeah.
you know, the houses that have the plaque on them, are they
almost got
to follow a certain color palette?
It's all kind of become
Mishmash.
mishmash and ignored, really.
Yeah.
They don't even issue the plaques anymore. It's an old program made, it's a very, very big deal back in the 70s and 80s. It's just kind of gotten forgotten and, pushed aside, if you will, but not because it wasn't important, but because somebody didn't just
Like
pick up
it.
the mantle and
Yeah.
resurrect it. But it's something that could be done. As you know, that Historic Geneva has done a huge renovation at the place on South Main. They're doing a monster renovation across the lake at Rose Hill. They're gonna do the same thing at the Johnston House this coming year. These are all factors that, again, improve if you will, the appeal of Geneva in general to all parties.
There's a ceremony for the reopening this
Yeah.
weekend.
That's
Oh,
right.
is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I was inside the building every day, taking pictures, sending them to the committee. Because they asked me to, and I live up 2 blocks away, so that was fun. So they're inviting people on the commit, on that committee or their board at 1 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock, I think it's open to the public. Pretty neat. They got an elevator, used to be an office. That was a big deal. And the handicapped accessible ramp outside. And the care it took to get the bricks exactly the same. They had to spend 3 times what typical bricks would be. They had to have a factory open to build these bricks, just like magic.
It's great.
My mother-in-law knew one of the owners. She used to visit there, but it was privately. She's 96, so she remembers everything. Very cool.
One other update on the county infrastructure thing, I should have mentioned this, the supervisors that scored them asked my department, the planning department, to reach out to those that were selected, because there was quite a bit of applicants. Those may or may not be of interest to this group. After the fact, to explain to them how to make their applications better. And also try to push them in the direction of a bucket of money that could be. So that'll happen over the course of the next couple. Really leading up to the CFAs, so they'll be ready for that. And my department's gonna do more of that before. It's a missing piece that we have.
Their fingers are lost on that one. That's a
Yeah.
big deal. $1 million.
Okay, any other? Yes, Catherine.
Our annual dinner is this coming Thursday. Thank you, Lowell. I'm excited to see that you'll be coming. It's Thursday from 5 to 7. It will be catered by Chinos. We'll have wine and doing a wine pool, but mostly it's going to be a State of the Union. What do we do in 2024? What does a bid do? A little bit more educational than just party for this one.
And
So-
awards too, right? Yeah,
Yeah, so we're
that's all.
doing a community partner award, a community not-for-profit partner award. And the Charlie Bowder Award to downtown distinction. Wow. It's the Charlie Bowder Award for a distinction for service to downtown. Here we go.
That's great. That's great.
So, yep,
Charlie has some great cars,
he
Yes,
does.
he does.
automobiles.
Want details on that?
I just realized, I told you the other day, I couldn't make it because it was banquet night for basketball and track, but I left up the date. I didn't have paper.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Check.
It would be lovely to meet her.
Some days.
Yeah.
Yes, you know.
We are recording.
Revealed a lot of things on this one.
There's something about a new parks group or private trying to, and I said, I didn't know who to contact, but because I,
Yeah,
Chef Geiger.
okay, maybe you can give me.
Yes. I mean,
Because I
I
do Fulton Park quite a bit, so.
you gotta get in on all that, yeah.
or-
I'm meeting with him later on this afternoon to talk about green infrastructure. So
When that ice has gone away, there's a lot of garbage.
I know we're working on it.
Yeah.
So
I
much
went through,
garbage.
oh, plenty pails of garbage.
Okay, if we have no more business, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Second, Jan, thank you.
David, good work, really good work.
Yeah,
I don't think these things would happen without you.
they wouldn't, because they hadn't.
No.
No. Accomplishment after this,
Yeah,
in less than 2 years.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do want to say it's also, it is an accomplishment of council, right? The getting the zoning in place is what allows all these development projects.
but you were a big part of getting it.
I appreciate that too.
You
There's a lot of
explained
people
it so
involved.
well, and we